Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. Super excited today. Today is the day that I actually get to cook from our new book. Now, Peter Sidwell's Kitchen, brand new cookery book. This has been a labour of love over the past 12 months where we've been crafting out this book, quietly working away, showing you how all the recipes on our channel, but now we've got them all in a lovely book. We're all super proud of it. Today, we're going to make a blueberry and hazelnut frangipane. It is absolutely delicious. Very sort of British classic, but we've kind of twisted up the flavours and it is absolutely delicious. Okay, it's time to bake, but please, if you want one of these signed personally to you, petersidwell.com, go to the website, you pre-order it, and I'll get it in the post to you as quickly as I can. Right, let's put that up there. So, frangipane, okay? So, Bakewell tart, think kind of that way. We're gonna make a beautiful short crust pastry to begin with, okay? Now, this recipe, it's important that you can be able to make beautiful pastry. And I was always told, cold ingredients, okay? So I've got my plain flour, okay? Gonna go straight in. What I'm gonna do is ask Carlos to put the ingredients down this side so that you can get the ingredients and you can watch how to do it. But if you want the recipe, please buy the book. Okay, so, and then in with some butter. So this is cold out of the fridge. So it's gonna take a little bit of work to rub it all in, but it will make better pastry. Now, one of the most important things I was always taught was to rest your pastry between each stage. So once we've made this pastry, we will then rest it. We will then roll it and we will rest it, okay? So between each stage, try and rest your pastry. So let's just get all that butter off there. Right, and then fingertips in and just rub it into the flour until you get like a crumble topping, okay? So we'll just use that, and look, you can just see there. You can just rub that in together. If you've got really warm hands, run them under cold tap, okay? If you want to. But just get it nice. Cold from the fridge is good enough for me. And then cold water we're gonna add to bring it together. Okay. So we've got Carlos in charge of the edit today. Emily's on holiday again. So that while the cat's away, the mice will play. We thought we'd make some more episodes. So, time to teach you to bake today, Carlos.
Thank you.
Carlos likes to eat the bacon. He doesn't do the baking. Olivia would like this, I reckon. She likes baking with her dad, doesn't she?
Yes, she does.
Right, so once you've got to that stage, just gently rub your hands together without too much pressure. We're trying to just get the butter incorporated into the flour, all right? Now remember, if you've got any questions about today's recipe, post them in the comments. I am here to help you, all right? And I will answer every comment that I possibly can. And I always do go through them all, make sure I reply. It's the great thing about this channel on Facebook and YouTube. You just ask a question. You can't do that on BBC, all right? So, that to me, can we get a close-up on that, Carlos?
Yeah.
That is what it should look like. Look, it looks like an apple crumble topping. Okay, right, just go and wash my hands. Okay, right, now, I want to add a little bit of fragrance to this dish. I love my lemon juice, I love my lemon zest. So, we're going to use the zest in the pastry, and we're going to use the juice to glaze this lovely dish up at the end. So use a microplane style grater and it will just turn the lemon as you rub it up and down on the fine grater, and it will just get all the yellow. You want the yellow, you don't want the white. The white is quite bitter, okay? So just carve off that lovely lemon, yellowy lemon zest. You instantly get that fragrance, it's delicious. Right, now, Cold water, a little bit, like a splash at a time. Now in the recipe, I think it says 2 to 3 tablespoons, but depending on the temperature of your kitchen, the time of year, it's gonna change, okay? So what we look for is a texture, and the actual recipe of the water is just a guide. So we'll add a little bit, because you can't take it out, add a little bit at a time, okay? And I'm just using a metal knife here just to bring it together. I don't want to get my hands in yet, because I don't want it to be warm. Another little drip. Right, that to me is about there. So let me just lift this. Can you see that all right, Carlos?
Yeah.
Do you see how it's just starting to come together? If I just squeeze it, it's going to come together as a pastry. Okay? Now we have got some wonderful new worktops in our kitchen. So we've got a nice cold surface, okay? And that's what will just allow us to bring that together. Look, there's your pastry. That's it. Don't overwork it. The more you work this dough and this pastry, the tougher it'll become. We want it nice and short and buttery. So that is going to go straight into the fridge for 20 minutes while we make the filling. Right, while our pastry's resting, it's time to make the filling, okay? So, I have got my butter here. So it's basically like a little bit like a Victoria sponge. But what we've done is we've blended some ground almonds or hazelnuts, whichever you prefer, with some flour. So it's like a 50-50 ratio. And what the ground nuts do is give it a lovely richness, and that's what makes it more sort of like a frangipane or a bakewell, if you like, depending on where you're from. So, what do you think, by the way, of our new kitchen? We've got a new look for our kitchen. International Stone is somebody we work with, and they've got the most beautiful worktops, and they've offered to put one in for us, and I tell you what, absolutely love it. We've also got a brand new AEG hobbin, which is matte black, which is rather nice. So it doesn't show up any of my greasy fingerprints, which is lovely. Really liking that. Good one, AEG. Right, so got my mixer. So let's get our white granulated sugar in there, because I don't want a caramelly flavour, so we're not using brown sugar, we're using white sugar at this point. Get your mixer in and just mix the two together. So we're going to cream them together. So it's about getting granular sugar mixed in to your fat and your butter, okay? So just nice and slow at the beginning, and then we'll just increase the speed and start to blend those together, or cream together is what they tend to call it. This is not the chuck it all in at once method, this is the creaming method, so you get the butter and the sugar amalgamated together. And at the beginning, you'll hear quite a sort of scratchy sound, because that's the sugar not mixing in yet. Once it's mixed in, it changes in its sound, and that's kind of when you know that it's ready for the eggs. Right. Now, eggs. 2 large eggs, room temperature. Really important. Eggs, when they're at room temperature, are more elastic than if they're fridge cold. And I know in America you keep them in the fridge, but just get them out early for this recipe, okay? Just get out what you need. So fully incorporate that egg before you then add the second one, okay? Nice. Beautiful local Cumbrian eggs we use. There's an amazing farm up at Embleton, which is between sort of West Cumbria and Keswick, and they've got the most amazing eggs. Absolutely delicious. So now, if I show you that, we've got that sort of fully incorporated. The eggs are fully in. The sugar, the butter is all just amalgamated. So I'm just going to turn that on and get all the mixture off. Let's put that over there. Right. Metal spoon, okay? And let's get a sieve. But you don't want a really fine sieve, otherwise the almonds or the nuts, whichever you're using, will not go through. So if I put that through there, nothing's coming through really. However, we want our flour to be sieved. We want to get lots of air into there. So let's just sieve our flour in. This is where you get an opportunity to get a bit of lift, okay? And then we add and scatter them in. Again, try and get a little bit of lift, okay? And then we're gonna do this overhead, Carlos. Is that the best way? Okay, there? Marvelous. I like to be in the right place. But I'm left-handed, so I'm doing it the left-handed way. I absolutely cannot do it right-handed. If I could, I would. So spoon in, hand there. So they're both together at 12 o'clock. And then turn to 6 o'clock. Carlos will not like the noisy worktops. International Stone, can you please come up with a beautiful, ceramic worktop that's quiet? So just turn like that. I'm going to try and lift it up so it's not too bad in terms of its audio. But basically, you just turn the bowl and the spoon a few times, and now you can see it's nearly all incorporated. Lift it up, mix it together now. You could easily do a gluten-free flour version of this. However, gluten-free pastry is slightly more difficult. So if I were you and you wanted to make this gluten-free, I would skip the pastry, put the jam at the bottom of an oven-proof dish, put this on top, and it'll be absolutely delicious. Then there's no compromise. I think sometimes with gluten-free baking and cooking, you end up compromising, and I think avoid rubbish pastry and just have beautiful, rich, buttery, almondy sponge with a lovely jam, bit of lemon, crunchy nuts. Be amazing. Right, that's done, okay? So we can put that to one side. Let's get our pastry out. So the pastry is rested. We barely mixed it, so any of the glutens that were developed will have just gone and relaxed. If you don't rest your pastry, what you find is it shrinks back and it fights you. The way to avoid fighting your pastry is rest it in between each stage. Okay, let's get some flour. Okay, a little bit of flour. Don't go mental. Just a little bit will be enough. Because you can feel that the pastry is sort of easy to handle, easy to manage. If it's like really sticky, then you've put too much water in, okay? And if it's really crumbly, you haven't put enough water in. So it needs to hold, it needs to be malleable. Is that the right word, Carlos? To move it around? I don't know why I'm asking you.
Are you asking the Spanish?
I was gonna say, yeah. It'll give me the Spanish version. So roll it, turn it. This worktop is absolutely born for pastry because it's gold, okay? Because it's ceramic. So just roll it, and then if you want to move it, roll it up, lift it, catch some of that flour, and then turn it the other way. Roll forwards, backwards, and then fold it and move. As it gets bigger, fold it, and then it's easier to move about, yeah? You've got less chance of it tearing. Okay, so super light. Measure this up. Now let's talk tins. So these are from Masterclass, and these are crusty bake. Because, look, you can see through them, yeah? They've got perforated holes, which means we don't have to blind bake because it's not going to steam. The steam is going to escape through all these holes, and you get a crusty bake. How do you think they came up with the name for that? If you want one of these, you can go to cookserveandenjoy.com, or you can order it on Amazon if you like. It is a great piece of kit because it's got rid of the blind baking, which I always found a right pain. And I always like, oh, do I need to? Shall I wing it? And then you end up like, oh, I wish I'd have done that. But anyway, so rolled up onto your rolling pin, okay? Now gently, just line it up and then gently unroll it, okay? And if you find, like me, look, I've missed, okay? I'm gonna fold it in half, I'm gonna lift it up and bring it out a little bit and then unfold it again, okay? Now, when you're going into the edges, don't stretch the pastry. Pull it in, push it into the corner, and then just encourage it rather than stretching it. If you stretch it, the pastry then becomes thinner and the filling is more likely to spill out, okay? So lift it up, push it into the corners, okay? Push from the center out, and then you just get enough pastry, okay? And then just push it round the edges like so, There we go. Right. And then if I need a little pastry, so can you see that bit there, Carlos, that I've missed?
Yep.
I've missed that. I haven't got quite the right shape, so I'm just going to take some pastry from the edges that I've trimmed, and I'm just going to fill that gap in. Okay, but what you don't want is two thicknesses of pastry. You've got to push it in so that it removes that extra layer and just sort of squishes it together, so we're all back to the same thickness. And if you've got the same thickness, that means it's going to bake evenly. Okay? Nice. Right. So all I'm going to do is take my rolling pin, roll from the inside out, and that will just trim off the pastry. And then what you want to do is, if you're in a rush, put it in the freezer for 5 minutes, and that will just give it time to firm back up. If you're not in a rush, put it in the fridge, tidy your kitchen, and have a cup of tea. Okay, while our pastry is resting, we've got our filling. Okay, I've got the most beautiful blueberry jam. Look, if you can't get blueberry jam, use another kind of jam, but I just wanted to go down the blueberry theme. Okay, and then we've got our hazelnuts. Now, my hazelnuts are in the oven. They've been in there for 10 minutes, okay? At 170 degrees, and I've just roasted the skins. Do not buy peeled hazelnuts. They're really expensive, okay? Just get a cloth, dry roast your hazelnuts in the skins like that, okay? And then just put them in. And what happens is the nut gets really, really hot, and any tiny little bit of steam comes out, and it just loosens the skin. Look, like literally. See? Do you see how it just comes straight off? So obviously that's going to take ages. So put them into a clean tea towel. Lift the corners up that way and then that way. And then put your hand round and group it so that you've got the nuts there, yeah? Twist it so it's tight, and then just rub it like that. It's like a magic trick, this, Carlos.
I don't know.
You're waiting to see what happens, aren't you?
Yeah. Ta-da!
There we go. Look, they all come off. You taste those now, Carlos. These are Oregon hazelnuts. So I did a project this year for Oregon hazelnuts, so we have a wonderful supply. All right, don't they?
They're nice.
Nice hazelnuts. Beautiful, lovely flavour. And then what I do, look at all the husks and the skins there. You need to get rid of those because they're bitter. So just open it out and roll the nuts to the side, okay? Far too many innuendos about nuts in today's cookery show, Carlos. No. Emily would be sniggering and giggling all day, wouldn't she, on this one? Right. Put a bowl in the middle and then just lift them out. That, way up, is the easiest way to get rid of the skins and the bitterness, okay? But they are so much nicer if you just roast them a little bit, get the skins off, and now you've just got that wonderful, rich, sort of Oregon hazelnut flavour. They are beautiful, these ones. Have a look out for them. They're good.
Would you do the same with another kind of nuts, like almonds or...
Almonds you can. So blanched almonds, we call them in the UK, are without the skins, and I tend to roast them and get rid of them. The skins are a little bit tougher. With these ones, I think because they're like spherical, are a little bit easier to skin, okay? So you don't, I think that's, pecans, you wouldn't have to do it on pecans, they're fine. Hazelnuts, fine. Brazil nuts, you would have to do it with. But that just, it means you just get this also, when you roast nuts, they become nuttier and more delicious, okay? So, that is how to peel your hazelnuts. Right, let's get our pastry out and let's get this in the oven. So there we go, rested. All right, pastry's chilled out. As I said to you before, if you don't rest it, the pastry, when you push it out, it then wants to come back in, okay? But if you rest it, it'll just go, the butter will firm up, the glutens will retract a little bit, and you just get a more pliable pastry. Right, pastry's ready. Blueberry jam. You have blueberry jam before, Carlos?
Yes.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's nice. You don't get it a lot in this country, but bon maman, I'm sorry, but they do lovely jam. And I'm sure everyone's got amazing local jam producers, but if you want a consistent product, no matter where you are, this is a good one. Really, really good. So, use the back of your spoon. Always put your jam in the center. Use the back of your spoon and then just start to push it out, okay? Because you want a nice, even layer of jam, because every slice, you want that lovely contrasting flavor of fruity, slightly sharp, sweet jam. And it's just going to cut through lovely. Okay, so I can see a few little thin bits there. So I'm just going to put a bit more jam there. Turn that round and push it out. There we go. Lovely. Right. There you go, Carlos. You can lick the spoon if you want to.
Thank you.
We've been working together a long time. I know when he wants the spoon. Okay, in with your frangipan mixture. Again, into the center, okay? Get it all in there. And then we're going to work it to the edges from the middle. Okay? I was thinking as well, we're just starting to get close to blackberry season. I reckon you could do this blackberries as well. That'd be nice. Back of the spoon and just push it out until it hits the pastry. And then just lift it up and just try and seal that jam underneath. Okay? So back of the spoon again. Cover all that jam. Because you don't want the jam to burn. You don't want it to caramelize. You just want it to get hot underneath the frangipan. And just then, once it's baked, you just want that lovely, rich, fruity well underneath. And it's all about a contrast. So we've got fruity, sweet, slightly sharp underneath. And then we've got a buttery, nutty frangipan. And then on top, we've got our hazelnuts and our blueberries. So, fresh blueberries. You could use frozen as well if you want to, but I'm just going to use fresh today because I just like the way that it just drops. I sometimes find frozen blueberries bleed a little bit and everything ends up the colour of a blueberry. So, just scatter them about and then take your hazelnuts. So now we've got like little bursts of blueberry and then we've got crunchy hazelnuts now. So we've got texture, we've got contrast, and then we're just going to push them in a little bit. And I've got a little tip for you. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. This is my new purchase. It's an empty bottle with a sprayer on. And all I'm going to do is just spray a little bit of water on the top there. And that's going to help make sure the hazelnuts don't burn. Okay. I'm going to bake this in a preheated oven, 170 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes, okay? May take 45. What it's about, if you're using a different tin, you need to make sure that that pastry is cooked and our almond sponge has a little bit of spring back when it's baked. Right, here we go. Okay, blueberry and hazelnut frangipan is baked. Look at that. Can you see that all right, Carlos?
Yeah.
Right. Because we've used the crusty bake, I haven't had to blind bake this, which means everything bakes perfectly as we go. Now, a little tip for you is I've got a little ring mold here. If you've got a loose bottom tin, the easiest way to get it out is just to transfer it onto there and then just let it drop. Look, because we've made a beautiful short buttery pastry, We rested the pastry. We didn't overwork it. It's relaxed, it's buttery, it's nice and short. It is ready to go. I mean, look at that. The only thing I want to do to now raise it up to the next level is that lemon that we zested, we still have, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little glaze. We're going lemon drizzle cake-esque, all right? So half a lemon into some icing sugar. And we're just going to make a really thin glaze that's going to cut through the rich sweetness of this, yeah? So squeeze your lemons in. Give it a mix. It's like making a lemon icing, but looser. You don't want it to be like that white icing. You know, on our like lemon ice buns recipe, it doesn't want to be like that. It wants to be beautifully thin, okay, so it can soak into that frangipan. So, and then all we're going to do is just drizzle that on. And it's a little bit white at this moment, but it is going to just soak in, okay? And that's what we want. Sweet, tangy deliciousness. Take a pastry brush. I'm a complete convert on the rubber pastry brushes because, oh my God, how many hairs from a brush do you end up with on stuff? And then Carlos has to edit them out of photographs and then he curses it. So we're onto these now and we're loving them. Okay, so just brush it on. If it hasn't got a shine, it's not got any glaze on it, okay? So just take a little bit of time. Let it soak in. Because honestly, the difference is from like that level to that. It'll be absolutely amazing. Lemon juice just makes everything fresh. And we've got buttery pastry, we've got sweet blueberry jam, we've got a rich frangipan in there, crunchy hazelnuts. It needs balance, okay, to make it not feel overwhelming when you eat it. And to be honest, if it's got balance, it means you can have a bigger slice. Okay, so that's it. That is how you make my absolutely delicious blueberry and hazelnut frangipan tart. If you like this recipe, please share it with your friends and family. Let them join the community of people who love great food, beautiful dishes, incredible ingredients. We want more and more people to come and watch the programs that we create. If you want to catch up on any of our recipes, go to our YouTube channel, Peter Sidwell's Kitchen. There is tons there. Everyone's got a smart TV now, so you can just watch YouTube on the big telly, sat on the sofa, with your feet up, having a slice of blueberry frangipan. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next episode.